All right, guys, so we talked about body type, and our theme for right now is metabolism and metabolic structure and keeping that metabolic momentum in this second block of progress. And so I want to revisit the topic of metabolic adaptation and suppression and even metabolic damage, which you may have heard, and make sure that we funnel our attention into what we can affect. So you know we have that genetic body type, which will match our metabolic capacity. But then what can change? Can we accelerate to the fastest, best genetic potential we have? What can make it, decrease to an inefficient point? And I mentioned in the previous block that you have to consume very low calorie diets for a long period of time to reduce your metabolism. And so the studies I've seen show up to 40 or 50% metabolic decrease if somebody is eating 500 calories or less for at least 8 to 12 weeks. So I don't think any of you are ever going to be eating that low for that long period of time. So in reality, just because we have the food intake that we do, and we're going to be training, exercising, that kind of thing, you're gonna create a pretty normal level, average level of metabolic expenditure for your genetic ability, your genetic capacity. So we just need to protect that, and we've talked about how to create those higher calorie days, higher carb meals, that kind of thing. To do that, training is an important aspect of that, because that just creates a base of calorie expenditure. It also helps build muscle and even cardiovascular density, capillaries, mitochondria, things like that can increase your ability to burn body fat more quickly. But what I wanted to discuss a little bit and make sure that you understand this point, because it really just doesn't exist, is metabolic damage. So that term came about by somebody who was writing and just kind of sloppily used that term, metabolic damage. And so now an entire generation of people have grown up thinking, oh my gosh, I may have metabolic damage, like it's polio or something, and somehow your metabolism can be broken and then just not fixed. You're stuck with this broken metabolism. Nothing could be further from the truth. Only 5% of the population even has thyroid insufficiency, which can easily be medicated for, replaced, and so you can still function at least a low normal level. But your metabolism is very resilient, and so even through the process of dieting and becoming more efficient, your body composition gets improved because body fat is coming down, and so you need fewer calories for your heart, lungs, and muscular system. All that is true, but you can maintain it at least a normal rate just because you're like I said, training extremely hard or progressively, and you're maintaining consistency with meals and protein and that sort of thing. So you really don't need to fear this, but what you have to understand, and this is where I want to again kind of stab this concept of metabolic damage in the heart and hopefully get it out of your mind, is that you can have a metabolically adapted position because you've been in a dieting state, and if you just come out of that slowly, and we'll address this again probably in block 3 when we're really talking about transitioning, but it's important for your metabolic normalcy to make these changes gradually. So if you just came out of a diet process and started slamming down a bunch of food, your metabolism is adapted to a lower level, and so you could gain body fat pretty easily. So with clients who go through a metabolic building phase, meaning that you've been in this calorie deficit and now you're going to incrementally start increasing your food, you can increase your metabolic capacity back up to your genetic best for your current body composition without gaining body fat. That's a metabolic building phase, so you're returning your metabolism back to maintenance levels without any fat gain. So that's possible, and that's sometimes what's needed. A lot of people call that reverse dieting, but reverse dieting is never a, quote, need to gain body fat. It's a need to restore metabolic capacity without body fat. So this is something, again, we're going to talk about in the future, but I just wanted to put those terms on the radar for you so that you're not questioning them as you move forward.